Hello, y'all. This is Julian Rico. This is a NFL wild card playoff update. Of course, wrapped up the wild card games, and we're on our way to the divisional round. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news. Let's get to these divisional games. We began in Houston, where the Texans shocked the world, upsetting the Chargers 32-12. Of course, we're going to announce offense and defensive player of the game. So we'll start on offense. Joe Mixon, 25 carries, 106 rushing yards, average 4.2 yards, average on the ground, one rushing touchdown. And on the Texans defense, Derek Stingley Jr., 4 total tackles, 4 solo tackles, 5 passes defenses, and 2 interceptions. One of them was a pick 6. This was a huge win for the Texans. A lot of us have doubted the Texans in this playoff spot because, of course, you have them having an offense struggling, and then you got the Chargers' good defense. Of course, turns out the Texans showed they can beat anyone, and now they're going to go to Kansas City to prove themselves they are the real deal. Meanwhile, for the Chargers, I would say a great season, and then after this loss, it's a brutal way to end your season. But all eyes on the Chargers next year. Could they go back in the playoffs, maybe winning the AFC West division? And that division is going to be even interesting. Depends on how the Raiders coaching job goes from right now. Baltimore taking down Pittsburgh 28-14. Derrick Henry, 26 carries, 186 rushing yards. He had 7.2 yards average on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns. It's the king just piling against that Steelers defense. On the Ravens, on the defense, Matabike, 4 total tackles, 3 solo tackles, 2 sacks, a tackle for loss, a pass defense, and a QB hit. Ravens defense managed to take down Russell Wilson and that Steelers offense. And this was a no surprise win, but they do manage to win this by 14. They were favorites by 8.5. This really shows why Baltimore's a real deal. And they will be going to Buffalo, where they will be taking on the Bills in a MVP showdown. That's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, a disappointing season. They end the season with a 5-game losing streak. But they haven't won a playoff game since divisional round in 2016. So Mike Tomlin has a big decision on this 2025 Steelers team, but also who's going to start in Pittsburgh. We'll find out next season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's go to our Sunday games. Denver getting themselves hurt with a 31-7 loss to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, 20 out of 26, 272 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, a QB rating of 135.4 rating. On the defensive side, Greg Rousseau had a good day too. 2 total tackles, 2 solo tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackle for losses, 1 QB hit. Bills will host the divisional round again, and they will take on the Ravens, who, yes, they already played them before in week 4. Now, can they get their revenge against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson? Meanwhile, for the Denver Broncos, a memorable season that we'll never forget. Bo Nix, will he win Rookie of the Year? And now it will be step 2 of Bo Nix. Can that help them win the AFC West? We'll find out next season for the Broncos. Philly runs away with a huge win against the Packers, 22-10. Saquon Barkley, 25 carries, 119 rushing yards. He averaged 4.8 yards on the ground. Just run and pound. But it has been a defensive football game. Nolan Smith Jr., 8 total tackles, 4 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. And this Eagles defense going up against a banged up Packers team that, yeah, they're banged up on both sides. It really hurts. Eagles move on, and they will be taking on the Rams, which we'll get to that game. How will the Eagles respond? Can they get to that championship game they were hoping for? We'll see how that goes on Sunday. Meanwhile, for the Packers, this season, it's been all about Jordan Love. Can he step up in his second year as the starter for the Packers? That happened, unfortunately. Injuries affected their season, and so the Packers will finish the season in a rough note with a lot of injuries to keep an eye on during the offseason. How about this game? The Commanders, our first upset of the week, or maybe you could say the first road win in the playoffs, as the Commanders win at 23-20 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jayden Daniels, 24 out of 35, 268 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, a QB rating of 110.2 rating. On the defensive side, Bobby Wagner, 8 total tackles, 5 solo tackles, a half a sack, 1 QB hit, and a great game for both of these teams. Of course, you got Washington's offense with Jayden Daniels, electric on 4th down. Was one of those big games that they went for on 4th down, and Zane Gonzalez hit the game winner. Huge day for them, and as they will go to Detroit. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be Jayden Daniels and the Commanders' offense versus Aaron Glenn's defense. How will Jayden Daniels score points against Aaron Glenn's defense? Meanwhile, for the Bucs, you may have won the NFC South Division, but at this game, it turns out that there's going to be a conversation of maybe Todd Bowles next season, maybe out, or they're going to have to do something next season. But for right now, for Bucs fans, not a good way to end your season. And we finally get to the Monday game, the Rams and the Vikings. This game was being played in Arizona, so no surprise. Surprisingly, because of the California wildfires, so shout out to the city of Los Angeles who are dealing with that issue with wildfire. We all pray for you guys. But the Rams getting an emotional win, 27-9 over the Vikings. Matthew Stafford, 19 out of 27, 209 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, a QB rating of 117.7 rating. On the defense got 9 sacks against Sam Darnold in this offense. Wow. One of those sacks came to Kobe Turner, 4 total tackles, 2 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 QB hits. And let me be honest, when they go to Philadelphia, I need to see that kind of response against a great O-line from the Eagles. If they beat the Eagles, it will come out as one of the greatest stories because you lose Aaron Donald, of course. But you bring in Jared Verse, you brought Braden Fisk, both teammates, and look what their impact did. A playoff win. First playoff win since their Super Bowl win against the Bengals. They will be heading to Philly. And meanwhile, from Minnesota, it's second time in the Kevin O'Connell era. It's one and done. You remember 2 years ago, they lost to the Giants in the wild card weekend, and now they lost to the Rams. All questions will be on, is Kevin O'Connell remain as the head coach? Because remember, once we go to the 2025 season, he's got 1 year left in his contract. So that is what we're going to be keeping an eye on. But also, who's going to be the starter? Will Sam Darnold return in Minnesota, or J.J. McCarthy's going to come in and be the starter? The future of Minnesota depends on it. And will Brian Flores return? Because remember, he's getting some head coaching offers, of course. So we'll see if he'll remain as the Vikings defense coordinator. That is it, folks. And again, we'll see you guys on divisional round prediction video on Friday. So stay tuned for that one. Again, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.